No energy is needed for this process. It will just happen because of the laws of physics. There's a concentration gradient initially. So high salt outside the cell, so that means there's low water. I'll explain why in a minute. So low salt inside the cell, so that means there's relatively high water. So that high water concentration inside the cell means there's concentration gradient. The water is going to move from where it's high in concentration inside the cell to where it's low in concentration outside the cell. So that's just osmosis. Water's moving from its high concentration, in this scenario, inside the cell, to a low concentration in our scenario outside the cell. So let me just explain why we have because it's a lot of salt outside the cell. You can see here, this green molecule is salt or solute. So as a result, our water concentration is low outside the cell. And that's because all of our water molecules, these are these red and white molecules on this diagram, are associating with a salt molecule. So they're not free water molecules. So even though there is water out there, there's not free water molecules. They're all associated with the salt. So even though in a moment you'll be able to see the water molecules drawn outside the cell, there is a lower water concentration because all of those water molecules, none of them are free. They're all going to be associated with salt, giving a lower concentration outside the cell. Essentially, all the water molecules are tied up because of that high salt concentration. So that's giving us a concentration gradient where there's loads of free water inside the cell because there's not much salt. There's hardly any free water outside the cell because there's loads of salt. And it's going to cause the water to move from its high concentration inside the cell to outside. So before I talk to you a little bit about concentration, do you have any questions about that osmosis? Because I know it's a little bit tricky. Some people find it a bit challenging. I'll carry on talking while you're thinking about it. What we have here is a beaker of water. It's distilled water. So that means we have a high concentration of water. There's no impurities in it. It's just water. We say that it's really dilute. What I've got over here is loads of salt. It could be sugar. It doesn't have to be sodium chloride salt. It's just salts. So we've got a low concentration of water. You can see there's still the same volume of water there, but the water molecules are associated with those salt or sugar molecules. So there's not so much free water, even though it looks volume-wise, there's loads of water. If you looked at a molecular level, the water molecules would be associated with the salt molecules. So we've got a concentrated solution over there.